Thank you for joining us. I'm Mary Yanez, Director of the Senior Adult Program, and this is Mature Living. We have an interesting conversation this morning about tinnitus and hearing. And so we've invited the experts, the tinnitus and hearing experts, and we have Dr. Patrick Buchanan here with us. He's got a whole team at the office, but we want to talk about hearing loss. We want to talk about why it's important for us to have our hearing checked every so often. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Doctor, tell me about your team at the office and your doctors.
We have an amazing team. My partner, Dr. Lopez, has been practicing in the area for about a decade or so. He's amazing. Even better, our staff, starting with our office manager, Christina. She goes by Chris. Angel and Jose, they're fantastic guys. When you call our office, you're going to be greeted warmly by a professional staff. They're probably going to ask a couple of questions, want to see what's going on, what your needs are, what you're experiencing, and then figure out what would be the best type of appointments to offer you, and then figure out what the best time and date, and try to offer amazing service in every aspect, and it starts there.
Yes. And before we finish our interview, they need to get a pen because we're gonna tell them where you're located and
Absolutely.
a phone number where they can call
Yes.
Your office. Tell me a little bit about yourself. How did you get interested in being an audiologist?
Great question. My mom was a choir director back in Houston, so I grew up around music, and so I grew up in choir myself, singing. I sing barely tone.
Don't tell me because we'll get you going for the Love Conference.
Oh no, that's not any danger of that happening. So,
Danny Boy or something like that.
oh my goodness, my grandfather would.
Yeah.
My first career before I was a doctor of audiology was as an audio engineer. I went to school for that originally in Houston at Houston Community College. And so I greatly value the community college experience. It was great for me. And so I came through there. But at some point, I don't know why or how, it's just the idea hit me. I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I love working concerts. I still love working with sound and the equipment, the technical side of things. And I was always blessed to be skilled at that, but I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life. And so I was looking around it. Healthcare seemed like a good choice, and still, I think it's a great choice.
It's a great choice.
Better than I realized at the time. And looking at different options in healthcare and the field of audiology, from my education as an audio engineer, everything made sense. It was just like everything prepared me to go further in that direction. And it really gave me a leg up when it came to studying for my doctoral degree. That was another 4 years after my bachelor's degree. So
Yes, that's right.
lots of education
A lot
went
of
into
investment
this.
there.
But I'm blessed to have, before that, education that really kind of adds to it and gives me an ability to go above and beyond for my patients.
Very good. And so really, why should we have our hearing tested? Because you work with the testing. I just mentioned a ringing of the ear very briefly, but I had it, and I go, oh. Tell us about why it's important.
Important to have our hearing tested. The main reason is our communication. And so for most people, a working person, they go to work, and first of all, in order to perform their best at work, they need to be able to hear the people that they work with, their bosses, their employees, everyone involved, customers, whoever. They need to be able to hear them. They need to be able to understand them. If you're going to give good service, you need to understand what the needs are in order to meet those needs and to provide those services. And so it starts there. When we go home, so many of us, at the end of the day, we've given our best energy to the people at work. And we get home and a lot of that energy is gone. And so the people that we love the most and we care about the most, we don't have the energy to give them our best because we've already used it at work.
That's right.
If there is a hearing loss on top of that, now we're making that experience even worse. And so, that starts in the working age. If they're a little bit older, again, once you're not necessarily working anymore, relationships matter all that much more.
Oh, and I'm talking about relationships, the wife and the husband, and the husband's got the television cranked up to about 70 or 80, and the wife's in the kitchen yelling, put that thing down, it's too loud or something, But for some reason, and I don't know if this is a fact, but males seem to be reluctant to get their hearing checked,
Not all males are stubborn, but a lot of us have our moments. Again, it's about the relationship. How any given relationship, how strained is it because of a hearing loss or because of other factors that are involved. There's much more that goes into hearing, and in the male's defense, attention might be a factor, right? If he's, say, watching the Super Bowl and someone is wanting to get his attention, I'll tell my patients, call their name first and then start talking. So it's not necessarily their ability to hear. Sometimes it's ability of both people to communicate back and forth.
Okay. So what I want to do is what are some of the causes of hearing loss?
Well,
and
noise
why
exposure.
we have to call you, huh?
Noise exposure is very common. And
Okay.
spending too much time around loud situations, we expect that to cause a degradation of someone's hearing. Damage. Too much sound pressure level applied over too much time is going to cause a change. It's going to affect you. Aging. Sorry to
is
say,
another,
aging is a factor we cannot ignore.
Okay.
And so presbyacusis is something that we do see quite a bit.
Okay.
And so it's something that we can help.
Great.
And illnesses and sometimes some medications can cause it. The primary of the two are going to be the aging factor, and also the noise exposure typically is a combination.
Okay, great. And do hearing aids really help?
They can.
They can.
They
yes.
can. They might not. All right. And so what it really comes down to is the individual patient's abilities, which we only discover through the testing process. And so, most people think of a hearing test, raise your hand when you hear the beep. We do that part, but that's the warm-up. It's important information, but we don't communicate with beeps. We communicate with speech. And so part of our testing procedures, so the test battery, we provide words at what should be a volume loud enough, at least a normal conversational volume once we compensate for the hearing loss.
Yes.
And we want to find out what is the person's ability to understand what they're hearing and be able to repeat it back. And if the ability to understand is below a certain percentage,
Okay.
hearing aids may not be a good option.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something else. And so we're looking at the whole thing. Beyond that, we're looking at a patient's lifestyle, what their specific needs are. And so it's really case by case as to whether hearing aids are going to help or not. And we're only going to know by spending the time, investing the time, doing a proper test.
And so, before our time's going fast, but ringing and buzzing in the ear, and then tell me about that. What causes that, or how do we recognize something's wrong?
What we call tinnitus, and for different people, it can be a different perception. And so people, it's a ringing sound. For myself, it's just a high-pitched sound, almost like a squeal. Some days it's worse than others. Some people, it kind of comes and goes. We're really not worried about it if it's just a couple of times a week. If it's constant all day, every day, which is what I've experienced for the last decade, that's when we're more concerned. And so if you're experiencing something like that, you want to see an expert.
So not only do you test and treat, but you've experienced some of the things that your patients have come in.
Absolutely. My partner has as well. And so we've studied just about everything that's out there, and research is continuing on this. We want to know more because
you stay up.
We want to, well, not just that, not just to stay knowledgeable, but to continue to have solutions for this problem. A lot of doctors out there will tell you that that nothing can be done about it. Some will say there's no cure, and that right now there's no cure. All right, but that's not the same as saying that nothing can be done. Something can be done. We can help.
Very good.
And it's. There's no guarantees with anyone, but we've had a lot of success helping a lot of people with this.
Well, I'm glad your office is growing and
Yes, ma'am.
you're helping people, and that's what's important. Can we give your phone number now that
Please.
everybody's got a pen, and where you're located?
We're at area code 915-974-2250. We're located off of the Gateway West. All right, 5959 Gateway West. We're in Suite 101, and they're on the ground floor.
And the last time you were there, I think you were moving in or something. I don't
We
know.
had just started up last time, and so it's great to
Great.
be here.
Oh, thank
You guys are a blessing. Thanks for having us.
And we'll see you at the Love Conference.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to it.
Okay. And we'll be back with more guests and very interesting. Well, thank you for staying with us. We have another interesting conversation to share with you. You're going to be eavesdropping here as we speak to Christy Brown, who is the executive director of the Mustard Seed Cafe. And it's a concept, it's a ministry, it's a nonprofit, it's helping the community, it's what you can afford to pay for a meal. And so she's brought with her, thank you, Christy, for being with us. I've been begging for you to come to the show for some months.
Yes, you have.
But you brought Carmen Estrada, who is the general manager of the cafe. And so we're going to share the time here that we have. Give us a little background of the Mustard Seed and the concept and where you're located now.
The Mustard Seed Cafe is a community cafe, and it's a pay-what-you-can cafe, which was something that we introduced to the community 5 years ago. A place where we felt like we wanted to create a place that was beautiful and felt like home, that served delicious and nutritious food, where everyone could come. And money wouldn't be an issue, that it would truly be a place where every member of the community was welcome. So we've been open 5 years. It was 5 years in December. We opened originally in the downtown area, but have reopened on the west side of El Paso in June of 2018. And we've got about 8 months under our belt in this new location, and are thrilled and grateful to God and to the community for the
your
opportunities.
support.
Yes,
It's wonderful. And you're being
Yes.
hosted now by another church.
We are Westside Community Church, opened their doors to us, and they're wonderful partners. It's a great location for us at 201 East Sunset Road. And we've got a beautiful cafe space and kitchen and office, and it feels like home, I think, to
Wonderful. I
everybody.
understand the decor is very bright.
It
and
is.
beautiful. And so, Carmen, your job is to administer what's going on. You have a chef on board. The meals were always wonderful. And I understand you have a large garden. Tell me about what it is that you do there.
Yes. Well, I'm trying to plan, but every day is to plan
The meals. and-
the meal, and not exactly the meal, but trying to be ready for whoever's go for our guests to have an excellent experience there at the cafe. Every day is totally different. We plan, and the Lord, and then do it exactly whatever He wants. It's even better than what we planned. Yes.
He always surprises us. with something.
Exactly.
We let him.
It's a good
Yes.
thing.
We open from Wednesday to Friday from 11 to 2. We have opportunity to guest groups, different groups when they want to have the business meetings, or when they want to have the Bible study, when they're going to have the Bible study, or just when they just want to have a fellowship. So we're ready to host it then, and for them to have a community experience where they're going to have the opportunity to see all kind of people in the cafe, people that you're going to see just. The only way that you're going to see it is in our cafe. All kind of background, all kind of needs, all kind of gift and talent. Just this is exactly what we have at the Mustard Seed.
What about volunteers? I know that as a nonprofit organization, I'm sure you need donations.
Correct.
Always donations of all kinds and all types, and they can always call you and find out.
Absolutely.
But you work with volunteers as well. Tell me
Yeah,
about the
we
volunteers.
work with volunteers. We are volunteers-based ministry. We can't work without volunteers. Volunteers that we have, they don't necessarily have to have the experience, but just the heart, and the desire to be there. Sometimes the volunteers come, they don't even know what to do, so we guide them and we tell them what to do. We operate even though we are a ministry, we operate with all the regulations of the health department. So we need volunteers to help us to roll silverware, to clean, to vacuum, to hug people, to call,
Welcome people.
welcome
Hold
them.
babies.
Yes.
And seniors are good welcomers. They should hang out at your
Absolutely.
place.
We love seniors. We love seniors.
You have something special for them?
Yes, this month is
February?
going to be their month. We're
February?
going to celebrate the seniors. This month we're going to have surprises for them. We have table games and craft, and again, it's going to be fun. We need the senior, we need the experience, we need the knowledge, we need their excitement, they're part of the community, and really, we would like to have all the seniors from El Paso there.
They can go have a meal.
Yes.
They can volunteer their time for their meal.
Exactly.
They can donate money for their meal or pay what is suggested.
Right.
And put their gift and talents to help us. We need volunteers to help us to do the bulletin board, to paint, to clean, to set up. Yes.
And so, Christy, you mentioned the experience of that senior that came by.
Yes, well, we've had a number of seniors that have been a sweet, sweet part of the cafe. And I can remember one in particular who would come and she would roll silverware for us. She couldn't stand really, but she would roll silverware for us. And we would race to give her cup of coffee. But the conversations that she would have with young people 70 years younger than she was, the stories she could tell, just the way they would speak into one another's lives was marvelous. And one day, we had a flautist come from UTEP, and he said, "Can I play?" And I said, "Absolutely." And he said, "Well, I believe you have someone who's going to accompany me." And it was this 91-year-old volunteer who sight read, and accompanied this young man from UTEP as he played the flute. And I mean, where do things like that happen? You know, that's what God does to surprise us every day at the cafe.
And that's the experience at the Mustard Seed Cafe.
It
It's
is.
a community
It's community.
meal.
Yes.
Community meal. A
Yes.
community meal.
Yes.
Anything that I haven't asked you that you want to mention? Of course, you
think
mentioned
there-
the location.
The garden. We
Yes,
have a
and that's-
beautiful garden. We have a beautiful garden. Again, the volunteers they don't necessarily have to have the experience. We have amazing master garden that are ready to teach and to embrace anybody who wants to come. It's a garden when we have vegetables and herbs.
Planting
and
fruit trees soon.
Yes, we're planting
Pomegranate
fruit
and
trees,
other-
You know, we
pomegranates.
have a gardening class that
Oh my
David
God.
Davis teaches
Oh
for us.
my God, yes.
we
We
loved
could
it.
probably have
A field trip.
Yes,
with, have
please
that
do.
class to come over
Yes.
on a field
Yes.
trip and go to the west side near the Donovan. They're in the Donovan area, and I'm going to suggest it because
Please,
wonderful.
it's about
please.
community.
Yes,
Absolutely.
You're
it's
welcome
about
from any part of
community.
town, not just them from the west side. We
Exactly.
we don't want them
yeah.
at home sitting watching
No.
television,
No.
feeling all
No.
the aches and pains.
We
No.
want to value. We want to treat them with the value
and-
and the dignity that they
Exactly.
deserve.
And the other thing is the meal that we have, the food that we have is healthy, healthy,
And
very,
very
healthy,
deliciously
very
prepared.
healthy meals.
A
yes.
phone number. Now we've got to get going, but a phone number that you can share with us.
The phone number is 915-440-7333. Yes.
440.
7333.
Oh, that's an easy number.
Yes, it
So
is.
I'm going to give it to David. Thank you for being
Yes.
with us, Christy Brown, Executive Director of the
Mary,
Mustard
thank
Seed. It's been
you.
around for 5 years. Let's keep it going. And then, of course, Carmen, you're going to see her working away in the rest in the cafe. Carmen Estrada, the manager. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Come
Thank
back
you,
again.
Thank you
Mary.
for having us.
I want some of
Yes.
those cards so I can pass them on.
Yes.
Thank
Okay,
you.
we'll be back with more guests. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. As you know, and everyone knows, in the United States, it's National Black History Month. The El Paso Community College always gets involved with presenting wonderful programs and events. And so we've invited Jaime Aragon, who is part of the committee of the Black History Committee through the diversity program. And he is the PR chair, so he knows a lot about what's going to be going on all month. Thank you for joining us, Jaime. Good to see you again.
Nice to see you, Mary.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting us, and we're very happy here to celebrate the 50 years of existence of the college.
Yes, it's a wonderful 2019 for all of us. And
is.
you've brought Felicia Chamberlain, who is the chairperson of the wonderful concert that's going to take place here very soon. It's going to be the gospel concert. Thank you for joining us as well. Tell me a little bit and give me an overview of what's going to be happening.
Well, I'd like to begin by giving you the date. The date is going to be February 15th, okay, and it will be taking place at the Administrative Service Center at the auditorium, more commonly known as the Black Room, and the time will be from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., and we're going to have a fashion show, and we're also going to have a variety of choirs that are going to be performing from the different churches. Now, what's important to note here is that it's free of charge.
It's
It's
wonderful.
open to the public, and
I
it's
gotta
free
be
of
there.
charge. And this is presented by the El Paso Community College Diversity Programs that our director, Ms. Olga Chavez, helps organize every year. But Mary, every month we do something. When we're not doing the Hispanic Heritage Celebration, we're doing the Black History Month, we do the Asian Pacific, we do the LGBT program, we do the Jewish Holocaust. And so there's something for everybody.
That's
And
very
we're
good.
about inclusion.
That's so wonderful. And I know your committee is also working on an awards dinner. Tell me about that and give us the date.
Yes, that awards dinner is going to be taking in February, but that date will be February 26th. And we have our guest speaker, Dr. Williams from UTEP, has a very strong following of over 300 students, and he's going to be our main speaker. And then we have the Legacy Awards, and people ask us, what is the Legacy Awards? The Legacy is someone that has made a major impact on the community. And so we have two gentlemen, Billy Towns, which is a professor. He's a professor here at EPCC. He has recorded 16 records for Shade Records, has a film that did the musical score, and he's a professor here who also plays concerts at Sunset at the Jazz. And then we also have the next winner, which is retired General Gear from Fort Bliss. And then we have two ladies receiving the awards. One of them is Estine Davis, that is known throughout the male barber, and she's going to be awarded too.
Very good.
And she was here, Mary, in the Piedras area way before even the 10.
Yes,
Okay,
I-
Bo Derek. So, and then the last one is Juliet Hart, who was retired. She was an academic counselor for 40 years. There is a cost involved, and the tickets will not be sold at the door. They will not be sold. You have to get them at the cashiers
Very
or
good.
through the internet.
Well, we want to invite and we want to talk a little bit to Felicia, and we're going to be talking to you. You are the chairperson of the gospel concert you're going to have. Tell me a little bit about your role. And
Yes,
what you're going to be doing.
I was very excited about this because this is different from anyone that EPCC has had before. So we're going to have a soloist, Miss Stella Johnson Bradley, and we have Praise Temple, Gospel Choir, Greater Mount Olive. We have the Citywide Mission.
amazing program, yes.
And also the Prince of Peace Praise Team. Our special guest, Billy Towns, and vocalist Linda Wolf. So I am so excited about this. I cannot wait. And just adding on the fashions, we're going to do this interchangeably. It's going to be beautiful.
So you're going to have a fashion show, and I'd like to take a little time so that we can invite Peggy Canconde.
Yes.
And she is going to talk. She's the fashion designer.
Oh, my
And
gosh.
I'd love to have her on the set. So we're
Yes.
going to take a little time to bring her on. Thank you, Jaime, for being with
My
us.
pleasure. And Mary, I want to emphasize that event is free.
Very,
That's February 15th.
very good. Thank you so much. We'll take a little break here. As we were saying, Felicia Chamberlain had just mentioned that Peggy Canconde is the fashion designer, and it's going to be the gospel concert you mentioned, Felicia, and simultaneously presenting a fashion show. So tell me how that's going to work out. And thank you for being with us, Peggy.
Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
for inviting us.
Well, actually, Miss Marui Hughes came up with the idea to have the fashions, and I was just overwhelmed because I knew what type of fashions this young lady does. So we are going to have beautiful gospel music, and then we're going to incorporate the fashions, and it's just going to be fabulous.
Amazing. And it's a free event that we're inviting everybody
Yes,
to.
everyone.
From 6 to 9 on a Friday, February. I want to remind
15th.
everybody, February the 15th.
Yes.
Peggy, good to meet you. Tell me
to meet you.
about the concept and the work that you do as far as fashions.
Yeah, actually, it all started with an idea of my husband, Dr. Kankonde, who is from the Congo and has been living in El Paso now almost 9 years. And he's also a musician. So, loving fashion, he's a man who loves fashion and music. He said, we need a place where people can come and share my heritage and you know, my ideas and ask questions.
We'd
And
love to have him on the show. We'll have to invite you back.
so we have to realize there's 54 countries in Africa, 54 cultures, fashion styles, music styles, food styles. So we are just beginning. We're just opened 4 months ago, and we are offered a traditional way of you can come and dine or have a coffee and a cookie while we alter a garment that you'd like to be modified, or we can make something new for you. We can take your measurements, you know.
And it's
so-
a cafe. It's the African Fiesta Cafe. And it's
Exactly.
located at 1830 George Dieter. I see your flyer here.
Yes.
And there's a phone number which we can mention. They can call 915-307-3956 to get more
Yes.
information about that cafe. It's a
Yes.
beautiful concept, and it's wonderful to present it during Black History Month. And then they can visit you all year round.
Yes.
Okay.
I just wanted to mention my passion for community colleges, because when I lived in Switzerland, I worked as a language teacher for 9 years in the local community college.
Wonderful.
So
You're familiar
I
with
think education still is, you know, knowledge is power. So
Yes. Very good.
that's really
Anything that comes to your mind, Felicia?
I'm just waiting. I can't. I can't keep saying it's going to just blow people away once they hear and see these fashions. They hear the choirs and see the fashions. It has never been done before.
It's a wonderful partnership. It's a great concept. It's a great idea. It's all free in the auditorium at the El Paso Community College. And maybe some other thing that you'd like to mention before we close our interview here. And
Yeah, actually, we'd like to introduce the African print fabrics as sorry about that. Accessible to everybody who likes a touch of color in their daily wardrobe.
I love
So
color.
you
by
see,
the way.
I
I'm
just
not
wear
very colorful
one little
today.
thing, but it's just, you know, just a little touch, a little bit of sunshine that we can
That is
all wear
so
very easily. So yeah,
Yes.
that's what we want to show.
And you know, we have to try new things, and women like to try new things. Thank you so much for being with us, and we certainly hope that this wonderful event on February the 15th, it's a Friday evening at 6 to 9, everybody shows up and they're going to see you all.
And hear the music.
And hear the music as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you all next week, and we certainly hope that all of these interviews have helped to give you a better quality of life. We'll see you next week.